Hello, and welcome to episode number 45 of Excel TV. How you doing, Sylvia?
I'm doing great, Rick. It's a sunny day in Los Angeles. Surprise, surprise. People are down at the pool, but no, I am here on Excel TV, where everybody really wants to be. Right, Oz?
That's right, Sylvia, the lady who looks the same inside out as she does right side in. And I am here in Portland, Oregon, ready to ride this bull called Excel TV. So we're going to nod, and the gate is going to open, and Kasper is coming out.
Yes, I am. Thank you very much, and thank you for that very incredible introduction, Oz. I'm very excited to be here from Denmark, Copenhagen in Denmark, up in the cold north of Scandinavia. It's awesome to be a part of this show. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you so much for joining. This is Rick, rickgrantham.com, also of Excel.tv. That's a great thing. It's early July here in Jacksonville, Florida, at the Excel TV corporate headquarters. And since July, hey, what better way to start the July than starting with your new spreadsheet modeler's starter tan? So kicking in, looking pretty good.
Nice.
It is.
Okay. Well, we're gonna go past the challenge this week until Jordan can join us for the next episode. But we do have another contest that was going on from our last episode, where Danielle Stein-Fairhurst of Plum Solutions joined us for the last episode, and she asked a question. She asked, what do you need to be a good financial modeler? She asked what sort of skills are needed. So the winner of this is Matthew Leung, L-E-U-N-G. So Matthew will be in touch with you. But here's what he said. He said, I believe that skills are kind of in 4 different categories. Right? Category 1 is kind of Excel related. It has to be anything from having a good understanding of formulas, et cetera, et cetera. Another one is financial related. You know, the ability to understand financial statements, et cetera, particularly around financial modeling. Number 3 was modeling skills, and there's ability to, in modeling skills, as you know, kind of this Sylvia and Oz, just the ability to take complex things and then break them down into something that's manageable, and you can kind of put a process. And certainly there's other skills as well around interpersonal skills, et cetera, et cetera. So congratulations to Matthew Long. Do we got any noise there?
All right. Yeah.
Well, congratulations there, Matthew. What you win is one of the 3 courses that Danielle over at Plum Solutions offers around financial modeling. She has a beginning, intermediate, and an advanced level financial modeling class. So we'll be in contact with you on that. So congratulations. Next up,
Awesome.
our very special guest from Denmark, Copenhagen,
Yes.
up there, Kasper. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm doing very good. It's evening here in Copenhagen. It's not as chilly as expected, but I think we'll manage. It's great to be a part of the show. Thanks.
Well, thanks for joining us. Could you tell us a little bit about Spreadsheeto, the website that you run? What is that all about? Tell us a little about yourself.
Yes, thank you. Me and my longtime friend Mikkel, we made this website called Spreadsheeto, where we took all of our experience in communicating Excel to the beginner, intermediate, advanced user. So we started this company in Denmark where we created courses for Excel and the rest of some other of the Office programs. And we had a great success with it, and we enjoy it. And now we just thought to ourselves, why not try in going international and see what it's all about in the rest of the world, not just small Denmark.
Gotcha. So what sort of challenges did you have in creating courses as you're moving from creating them just for Denmark to starting to create them for the globe? What was that like?
Well, first of all, there's the language barrier. I wouldn't exactly call it a barrier, but of course it's easier to develop courses in your own native tongue than some other language, of course. But I think we managed. We created this free course, free 7-part training for Excel at our website. So that's the only courses we've made so far at Spreadsheeto. In Denmark, we've created courses in VBA programming, basic Excel stuff, Word, PowerPoint, and so on. So I think the language barrier was the first challenge we faced so far, and let's see what else we're gonna face.
So you seem like a fairly young guy. You and your friend Mikkel, who started up this company. How long have you been in Excel? How long have you been working on this?
We started our Danish company called Proximo for like 3 years ago, but I've been working in Excel for 5, 6, 7 years. It's not as much as you guys, unfortunately, but I love the program, and I think I'm quite adept at it. So I'm not worried. But of course I'm a bit behind on the time and the age, perhaps. I'm 27, so I got a few years to catch up to you guys. No offense, of course.
I'm 27 next
Oh,
year.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Sylvia, I forgot.
We have a protocol on the show. I'd like to throw out a question, if I may. How did you come up with what makes beginner versus intermediate versus advanced? That's something I continue to struggle with in my many years of doing Excel. What does that really mean with such a ubiquitous program like Excel?
Yeah, so the definitions are quite vague, I believe, as well. It's hard to define, but of course the beginner stuff is something that you can learn and apply quite fast and quite easily. So that I guess you can say that being an advanced user in Excel, then you need to have the Excel skills, but also the kind of the logical skills, and you have to think really hard and solutions and stuff like that. Whereas beginner stuff, you don't really have to do that. You only need to know how it's done in the program. You don't really need to apply some technical mindset to the functions and the features that you're using. And that, I believe, is like the theoretical definition or difference between the three or two, but mostly it resolves around what can you take and use right away. So learning pivot tables is amazing, but it's not amazing if you have never seen an Excel sheet before, in my opinion. Then you should use some other stuff first. You should know how to make a graph, or use formulas and functions. Like the core of Excel, you should learn that before you learn pivot tables, and especially VBA programming, array functions, advanced functions, and so on. So it's a kind of a vague answer, I know. What do you think?
I think it's hard. I think that I continue to struggle with those definitions. People like the beginner, intermediate, advanced labels in theory, because I don't know, I think it gives people some kind of comfort level, even though they haven't thought it through, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Because when you really get into it in the working world, there's a lot of gray area between what makes someone beginner versus advanced. I could, I had used Excel for 2 months of my entire life, and I stumbled upon a macro recorder. Did that make me an advanced person at that time? Probably not. But those are considered advanced concepts. So I find it very challenging to address those whatever they are, to define those things.
Yes, it is hard.
It is tough. While you're talking about it, I started thinking about when I moved to Portland 2 years ago, and how, I look in Yelp, and it directs me to an Indian restaurant. And then later on, I want to go to the grocery store, and then Yelp sends me to the grocery store. And then over time, I'm able to start getting a sense of how the whole city hangs together. And that's how I think about Excel. Not so much beginner, advanced, and intermediate, but here you are in this city, and you got to go buy some milk. You might have to just follow the GPS to take you to the damn grocery store and then get you back home. And then Eventually, you got to go downtown to pay a parking ticket, and you try to figure that out. And eventually, the whole city starts to hang together relative to what you've needed. So I think of more like, how do I go downtown to pay my parking ticket?
Yeah. Well, I think that's beautiful put, Oz.
Yeah.
It is. As much as it is true, then I think that Sylvia is right in that the user that has to learn Excel from bottoms up or something like that, maybe he or she needs some labels to put on this in order to get things done.
Sure.
Because what to learn first, and I believe that's the big difference between being good at learning something or learning something the right way and the wrong way, the structure of it all. Because you need to learn how to walk before you can even get to the grocery store.
Oh shit.
Oh, crawl before you walk. I don't know, man. Some people don't get that opportunity.
No.
Their ass is just thrown in.
That's right.
Yeah. How you gonna keep yourself from catching on fire? All right, Rick. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so say so with that in mind, Kasper, what is your expertise within Excel? Where do you consider, if a person's coming to Spreadsheeto or coming to get in contact with you, where in the map is your strength?
I believe that I've been working both as a teacher and as a consultant, and I believe that our area of expertise lies within explaining things the right way and mapping out the right structure of things. So when you come to Spreadsheeto, we just started out, but if you come to Spreadsheeto, you'd see some long articles about stuff in Excel. You won't find much macro VBA stuff, not at the moment at least, because we believe that our expertise lies within our ability to explain something. That's basically it. So I don't think that we have a certain area in Excel that we excel at, but more like the general holistic picture of things that we would be able to explain good.
And what's an example of that?
An example of that? Well,
good explanation.
Good question. Well, I believe that just as we talked about 30 seconds ago, when you take something and apply an example to it that's easy to understand, I believe that's very important. Most people when they explain things in Excel, examples, they use apples and pears and lemons and stuff to explain what's going on, but I don't. We've chosen a different path in explaining things with real life examples that I see every day or I see with some clients. That if you explain things from where the customer or the person who has to learn something, where they begin, then you can explain things so they can understand it. I believe that's pretty important, at least to us. I think I've learned that along the way.
I think about this a lot because I've got an online course, I've written a book, and have to constantly making examples. And where I've tried to go is not be so business focused, finance, accounting, because I've dealt with so many people, nonprofits, and a guy who manages the fleet of vehicles for a school system. So he's got to track the maintenance of these vehicles. Somebody who was getting ready to sell a house and was tracking the process and the things that needed to be sold or thrown in the garbage or loaned out to friends. And so I've seen a lot of different things. And so, when I was writing Guerrilla Data Analysis, I figured, okay, let me get a retail example and an inventory example, a nonprofit example, donations examples, and even when I did rank, explaining the rank function, I said, okay, we've got fencers. It's a list of fencers and their records, their win and loss records and the bouts. Now, we need ways of breaking ties in rank. So if two fencers have 80% wins, how do we break the tie? Okay, well, then let's go by the number of bouts. Okay, so the person who's had the number of more bouts will win that tie. So, yeah, going into sports even to also give a wider sense of what Excel could do, because I had a friend ask me, is Excel for the common man? And yeah, hell yeah, it is. It's for anybody that's got some data that they need to keep under control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. That's another way of doing it, and another. It's not so far from that, but
Right.
but of course there's a multiple way of doing things, and
Yes.
they all work in different areas.
Yeah, and it's tough. What I've seen is you got conceptual people and not conceptual people.
Yeah.
Because I've dealt with two photographers, and one photographer, he's sitting there waiting for a photography example, and the other photographer, man, I hear from her a month later, and she's got Excel everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that was great. So next up, the topic of the week. Over to you, Sylvia.
Hey, Rick. Well, as you all know, as our millions of viewers know, it is Excel TV International Day, which is why we are going to play another round of our very popular Wait, Don't Excel Me International Edition. The way that this round of Wait, Don't Excel Me is going to work is we have a panel of experts, of course, and we have some Danish Excel formulas on the left, which our esteemed guest is going to help pronounce, and then the panel has to guess the corresponding formula name in good old American English. So with that, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce these, so I'm going to require that our guest help us here. And,
Yes, thank you.
Kasper, would you like to pick up where I left off? And
So this is awesome.
Don't
Excel me. So
Okay.
I'm going to start with the first question and the first function that you guys are going to guess. So as you can see on the left side, you can see the Danish version of this function, and on the right side, you can see some options for answering. So I'm going to pronounce this. Are you ready, guys?
We are ready.
All right. So this function is called O.
Oh.
That's it. O.
Okay. Oh. What do you guys think?
Almost. Not with as much pressure on the G. So O.
Oh.
So that could be and, odd, or, if, offset. What do you think, guys?
What you think,
I'm looking. I'm trying to think this through here.
No cheating, by the way. You're not allowed to Google it.
Yeah, where I come from here around the Excel TV headquarters here in Jacksonville, Florida, the OG is original gangster. So that's like an
Oh,
ice,
yeah. Oh,
That was
gee,
the first thing I thought of, but, you know.
not a vanilla ice kind of thing, and
Yeah.
vanilla, he's
Like a good
he's
vanilla ice.
gangster from back in the day. So I'm gonna say that I'm gonna go with odd. That's odd. I'll take it.
All right. What about you, Oz?
It's really just a guess, Oz.
Okay, all right.
Don't overthink it, Oz.
Let's go with and.
Okay,
Oh.
drum roll, please. Oh, that's me. Okay, what do we have? If we ungroup, we might see an answer there.
Yay!
Yay! First point goes to Oz. Oz, was there anything that made you guess that correctly, or did you just take a
No.
wild guess?
Wild guess.
Wild guess.
This is weird.
Are you sure, Oz? You didn't like Google or something?
No, this is wild guess.
Okay, I
Oh, man.
certainly hope so.
Mm.
Well, then let's move on to the second one and see if you can guess just as correctly this time. So this is called, as you can see on the left, middle. Middle.
Bill.
It's a beautiful word.
Beautiful.
So that can either be mid, mode, or average. What do you say, guys?
Middle.
Oh.
I'm good with average.
Ooh. Bold move there, Rick.
Yes, it is. The only answer that doesn't start with M.
Mm-hmm.
That is a bold move.
That's a bold move.
He's a bold guy, apparently.
Coming out.
Oz, you are allowed to agree with Rick, but then you guys have
know.
to share the point.
Because middle, mid would be, like, and then that could be the right thing, and then I could overthink it and start thinking too much.
What's the right answer in improv? Always. The first answer, right?
Let's go with mid.
Okay.
All right, drum roll, please. Average.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Take it.
Wow. Okay.
Now, can you pronounce those close cousin names for us, Kasper?
Oh, middelvis.
Middle.
I don't even want to know what those are. We should just move on to question 3.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, all right, so you don't have to sit there and listen to me. So the left one, you can see the Danish Auron Loft.
Now this one, there could be a little strategy. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because I know what the answer is.
Auron Loft, and that can either be column, address, floor, ceiling, or a lookup. What do you think, guys?
I'm gonna go with lookup.
All right, is the .lo that gave it away?
No, it's a lot like Aloft, which is like a hotel here in the U.S., which are really tall buildings. So that's my logic. Lookup.
All right. That's a sound logic, Rick.
Thank you. That's the same one that brought me average, by the way.
So far, it's a tie. I believe
is.
you each have 1 point.
Yeah.
Whatever you're thinking probably isn't the right answer.
Well, right, probably is not. Right.
Probably go with C. Just have your conscience, Oz.
I'm going with address.
Oh.
Okay, so we got address and lookup. Drum roll. Ceiling.
Loft. Ceiling. See,
Yes, exactly.
even though I knew that, I could have guessed it. Just saying. I could have.
You could
Next
have,
time
but
you guys
you
can
didn't.
invent a game and test me.
Yeah, next time I'll do the quiz, and you don't know.
Yeah,
the
there
answers.
you go.
Yeah,
It'll just all be in touch.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to question number 4.
Yes, let's move on.
Okay, so this is a long word. It's called sammenkædning. It's a beautiful word.
It
So
is a beautiful word.
substitute, count ifs, some product, some ifs, or concatenate. What do you think, guys?
Sammenkædning.
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 Does anyone ever use that word in Dutch even? There's your clue.
You can go with substitute.
All right.
Perhaps you should overthink this, Oz.
Right.
And Oz is up.
I'm going with some product.
All right.
Here we go.
Let's see. Concatenate.
See, it's a bizarre word. That was the giveaway because nobody says concatenate in English. I don't know if people say it in Dutch. But
Kasper said it was a beautiful word.
Yeah.
Yes, and it is both in English and in Danish.
Something I need. A rocket Dutch. This is cool.
Let's move on to this.
Easy.
Well, it could be fairly easy unless you overthink it.
Yeah.
So try to do that, please. It's called Max.
Oz, you should go first.
It's obviously large. So I'm going to give you that one. What do you say, guys?
Oz, just remember this. Middle was average. Think that through for a little bit.
Right.
I'm gonna go with Max.
I'm gonna go with Max.
Oh, that's
bold
one
move.
hell of an answer.
There's another bold move right there.
Yes, it is.
It's 2 Maxes.
Rick.
2 Maxes, all right.
Yay,
You were
get half
correct.
a point.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Very good job.
Lightning round.
Lightning, last one, guys.
All right, so this is called slope, and it can either be slope, rand, or intercept. So, lightning round, what do you say, guys?
This is really lightning.
Oh, this is a hard one.
Sloop.
They're all hard, really. Let's be honest. Slump.
Oz, can you imagine trying to teach a class in this language?
Hey.
You should come over here and try.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, see? Stump the Excel TV panel. Everybody's dream.
Sloop.
You're in such a slump, you don't even know what number to pick. There's your clue.
I'm gonna go with intercept.
It's a nice
you don't
clue,
even
Sylvia.
know what number to pick. Right? It's a good clue.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, a nice
See?
clue.
Always working up here.
Yeah.
Stuff's always going on. You don't even know. Come on, Oz. Pick one.
Sloop. Let's take slope.
Alrighty then.
Okay, last answer.
Rand.
Rand.
It's super weird, even in Danish. So
It's super weird.
It's
So,
all right.
Yes.
So
The moral of the story.
Oz, we are
Weird.
equal guessers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think you guys came out about evenly, so nobody wins another set of Excel TV business cards.
No, not this time.
Oh man. All right.
Well,
Nice
thanks.
trying, guys.
Yeah, we tried.
You got a couple.
Yeah, you did.
Now, Kasper, would you have been able to guess the English form? How skilled are you at immediately knowing the English version of the Danish formulas? Or do you normally work in Excel in English?
It's kind of like 50-50.
Oh.
Especially now when since we launched Spreadsheeto, I work a lot in the Excel in the English. So I kind of know most of the Danish formulas, functions that I use in English. Almost everyone, I think. But of course, I can't translate all of them. Not at all.
So that'd be another game altogether. How quickly could you translate?
Yes,
This
you are
happened
well.
to me. I did a workshop in Germany for a friend of mine who was working in Germany.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it was going to be German Excel.
Oh.
And there I was. I had to have a translator. So
Yeah.
all I'm saying is it's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, it is hard. Sometimes I look it up. I Google
Yeah.
it because I don't know. But feel free to try me next time.
Okay, we just might.
All right.
Sometimes you got a GTS.
Yeah.
Sylvia, did you have another part of the topic?
We would like to talk about, given that your experience, Kasper, is you learned Excel at university, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, some
That where you-
Excel
that's-
at least.
Well, so was that your first exposure to it? I guess is my question.
Yes, it was.
So
It
that's what we'd like to talk about. So we would like to talk about the difference between learning Excel in an academic way at school before you enter the working world versus what I believe I'm speaking for the rest of the panel here on Excel TV. We were all School of Hard Knocks. We just learned it on the job. So, you know, what does it look like in an academic setting? Maybe you could start by telling us a little bit about, you know, how do they structure it at school? And how did that inform your after-school experiences? And then we can tell you about our crazy adventures learning Excel in the quote-unquote real world.
Yes, I love to hear that. Well, I started studying in economics in Copenhagen Business School, and then we have these assignments each week where we needed to do a lot of calculations in Excel and stuff. But we learned from the teacher each week that the functions that we needed to use. So we kind of slowly got into things that we needed to use in these assignments. But there was a lot lacking, I believe, at least from my point of view. I took a bachelor's degree in economics, and some of my friends who continued and studied their masters in finance and stuff, they actually had a whole course structured around financial modeling in Excel. I've never had those kind of courses. I've only had these economic courses, statistics and stuff like that, where we used Excel and programs similar to Excel. But I believe that the problem, that the challenge in learning Excel that way is that you will never learn the holistic way of looking at Excel and looking at problems and challenges, and you will never know the whole catalog of things that you need to know in order to make a solution to something. That at least from my point of view was one of the problems in learning just exactly what you needed to know in order to make this assignments.
Right. So was it a requirement, or is it a requirement for students in the business school, or is it a requirement for other kind of majors as well? Just curious, because I don't think it's required learning here in the States.
No, it isn't. But of course it's an advantage. Actually, when we started our Danish company Proximo, the first thing we started off with was a free course for all the students at CBS. Before we even tried to think of this as a business, we just wanted to learn teach other people how to use Excel, because there were some issues that people didn't know half of Excel. They only knew these specific functions and a little bit about pivot tables and a little bit about this, but they didn't know enough to create feasible solutions for assignments and good statistics and stuff like that. So we started creating this free course.
What's an example of something they knew and then something that was missing?
They would know basic functions, but primarily formulas. And of course that is one of the core elements of Excel, if not the primary element of Excel. We learned how to use formulas. Most people didn't know anything about Excel, including me when I started out. So we learned something about functions and formulas, basic functions, and how to calculate, economic stuff, and to do graphs and stuff like that. But the problem is that no one knew how to make a beautiful layout, a beautiful design of a spreadsheet. And I think that's very important, especially in school when you need to deliver some results and some kind of reports. And we didn't know anything about creating pretty Excel sheets. And
I remember whenever I first looked at a spreadsheet for the first time, it was Quattro Pro. And this might have even been before you were born.
Probably.
Quattro Pro was out. I remember somehow I got a pirated version of Quattro Pro, so I downloaded that. It must have been 24 years old or so. This is right before I got into finance. So I was playing around with that a little bit and thought I might know a few things. And then finally I moved over this is back in the day where they weren't teaching too much of this in college anyway. You had maybe there was an accounting lab, but outside of that, most things were just kind of paper and big calculators you carry around and stuff. So
Yeah.
we would whenever I was working for a banking institute at the time, Citibank, and in there they had like a little learning center, and in the learning centers I could go and I could like check out DVDs, right? And I could sit in front of the computer and I could teach myself and do self-paced learning. I'm not sure if it was a Bill Jelen program or like a Mr. Office or something, but it's one of those things. But I'd plug it in. I'd kind of, I didn't know it was going to be my future at the time. It was just kind of interesting, and I'm trying to further my career. And I kind of like, that ended up evolving to get into financial modeling, et cetera, later on. But there's a thing that I do with kind of new employees whenever I'm teaching them new concepts, right? I'll give them just a little bit of information, particularly if I've got time, if I'm not crunched, and I'll give them a new application, whatever they need to work with, and I'll say, here, go play with it, get lost. I'm not going to let you drown. I'm not going to let you drown, but go and get lost and get frustrated and start to figure things out on your own. And then let's come back in 3 days and let's talk about all your questions and let's kind of go through it. And that's one of the things that as far as the I don't know, School of Hard Knocks, I guess, that I kind of love and appreciate, right?
Yeah.
You have the ability to be, I use the term intellectually curious, but to get a little lost, to figure out how to get to the other side of town without a map, and figure out how to do all this sort of stuff. Now there are certain basic things you got to know. Right, somebody has to teach you if you're learning this from scratch. You got to know cell references. You got to know where the formula bar is and what the hell that does and what is graphs. There's basic stuff you've got to know. But gosh, beyond that, just for me, getting into the job and starting to drown a little bit and starting to fight for survival was a hell of a way for me to learn a lot of the things that I learned. How about you, Oz?
Well, wow. Okay, so I am a fan of get thrown in, but I definitely like, I like teaching. I've taught workshops, and so I've preferred to work with people who've got some sense of what they need, because I feel like somebody just walking in, somebody who asked me, I need to learn Excel. I can't hide from it anymore. Okay, well, what kind of things do you need to know? I don't know, but I'm trying to change careers, and everything I want to do says I need to know Excel. Okay. I don't know how to help, because, I spent some money on an online VBA course a year before I needed any VBA, and I went through the course and things made sense and I could do a loop and stuff, but then here comes a year later, I had none of that to draw from. It didn't stick with me, so it's important for me when I am teaching somebody that they've got a reason, something's at stake. That, because, trying to teach somebody, I don't know if you're going to have to make dashboards, if you're going to have to import data from a database and have to start making connections. And an experience I had recently, my sister was in a jam. She wound up in a position where she had to track some data. And her employer gave her access to some Excel tutorials that they had paid for. And my sister spent 2 days learning named ranges and keyboard shortcuts. I'll be goddamn it. After 2 days, she was mad. She could not track a damn thing, but she knew some named ranges. And she could save and do all kind of stuff with the keyboard, and she was there with me doing screen sharing, and I'm helping her get her stuff together. So it's tough. Yeah, I like to teach somebody who has some reason for it.
Well, that's usually the best the best time to do it, and that's usually when people are most likely to absorb it, because they have
Yeah.
a specific agenda. So yeah, of course I find it. I'm just I was just curious in general, like what could one do if we were to, let's say, pitch universities what would be that Excel course to prepare people for the working world, because I work with a lot of companies, and I'm out there all the time and looking at how people use Excel, and I think I still think there's a real need to have some basic
Oh,
foundation
yes.
before you enter the
Oh.
working world.
Okay.
And if I had my druthers, I would say focus on this idea of, in financial modeling, data versus calculations versus presentation, and it's Particularly with big data, and companies want more and more analytics, and people are using Excel in really terrible ways. Can you tell the job I'm in right now is just that
Right.
it's that I think would be a really valuable lesson, and other things, as far as like the layout and everything,
Yeah,
do some other courses to teach you
and
basic
and I
aesthetic.
think Sylvia, you kind of talking about your world, right? And that's the
Right.
interesting thing about this whole thing, because over the years that I've been doing this in all these different industries, different business sizes, the thing I keep coming across is terrible layout
Yeah.
and no skill in knowing how to clean data.
Right.
Oz, we heard a lot of that also from, I didn't interrupt you there. We heard a lot of that from George Mount, who was on a few episodes ago, who said, he recently graduated as an economist. And one of the things he said is, the biggest difference for him was in college, everything, all the problems that you have to do, the data's kind of already clean.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't like real. It's, hey, put this stuff in here, put this calculation on it. There's no leftover data from a formatted report you exported from the mother system.
Yeah.
Stuff at the bottom. You got to figure out how to clear that shit out.
Woo!
And so there's none of that, but in the real world, that's a big portion of your day. That's a big portion of your time. So yeah, I think it's good to get those skills, but man, it comes to a point where you're just thrown in the deep end. Now you got to figure out what the hell to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, Kasper, have you spent much time in a job where you had to use Excel?
Yes, I had this student job.
Okay.
While I was studying myself at the Department of Education in Denmark, where I did a lot of Excel stuff. I cleaned a lot of data and put it up nicely to fit in reports and stuff like that. It was okay advanced. It wasn't crazy advanced, but because I wasn't really given the time to learn by myself how to become a super user or a developer in Excel. So I quit that job, and then I started this business in Denmark with Mikkel, and then I got really good at Excel, because then we started taking clients, and that was the real accelerator of Excel skills for me, at least, and I believe for almost everyone who has tried it. That you don't know how to fix it, but you have to deliver some kind of solution to your client. So you don't really have a choice. Just fix it and then learn how to fix it. So you learn a lot from that, and I did.
Yeah. And that's interesting, because there's two things there. I've seen people who they just have something that they do all over and over again, and sometimes a complicated formula will help them.
Yeah.
That's all they need. They don't need to be a super user.
No.
Then there's people need to know a little bit more. But then, being a consultant, man, walking into some place not knowing what's there waiting for you and just having the backbone to know I can deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm an adult.
Every
I'm a grown
time.
man. And I'm smart and good looking.
Well, you are at least you're good looking. I can
Hey, that's right. So if the data isn't scared of me, I'm gonna charm it, and it's gonna act right.
tell.
Yeah.
So speaking of making that data act right, Oz, why don't you take us on to the tip section?
About to get hot. So this is clothing optional here only because it's hot. All right. Here we go. I have a hot tip to whoop on y'all. Okay, I've got it here. We've got pizzas. Okay, and let me sort this here. Data, and I'm gonna sort this. Okay, so it's already sorted. So on pizza 16, this is mushroom, sausage, black olives, goat cheese, and onions. All right. Pizza 11 just had sausage on it. But I want to get a grid so that I can say something like how many, so of the extra cheese pizzas, what was the next likely ingredient? Do people tend to get extra cheese and black olives, extra cheese and sun-dried tomatoes? What? I'd like a matrix that might look like this, that says this is everything that was on pizza 11. Sausage. Okay, let me bump this up a little bit so you can see. Okay, and then here on pizza 19, this is everything that was on pizza 19. How do we get there? Okay, I used Power Query. So the first thing is to create an ingredients query. So I'm going to go over here and show you my ingredients query. Edit. I started by making a query that starts with that whole table. Then I removed the pizzas in the first column so that I just have the ingredients. And now I have a table of just the ingredients with no repeats because I removed the duplicates. Now I have an index column, right? So now this is going to help it be where pineapples is going to be 7, right? So that's that query. And then I have a pizzas query, which is just that raw table, no changes to it. I'm going to close that. Now I'm going to merge those two queries. Data, new query, combine queries, merge. I want to take pizzas and ingredients, and I have to match ingredients. Okay. Now I've got to expand this to tell Excel. This is the pizzas table, right? So now I'm going to expand this and tell it, what do I want you to bring in from the ingredients query? I want you to bring in the index. So I do not want the ingredients. Okay. Now this gets sexy here. With this column highlighted, I want these numbers on top of a pivot table with the ingredients inside the pivot table. But see, now let me show you something. Well, no, I'll show you later. So I'm going to go over here, transform. I'm going to pivot. I want ingredients in the values, open this up, and I want don't aggregate. Means don't count, don't tell me a sum, average, nothing of, the ingredients. Don't aggregate. Okay. Now there it is. It didn't do any math on me. And that is, then I can go and close and load. And there are my pizzas. Now I can filter by extra cheese. Now I can see people are likely to do extra cheese and mushrooms. All right, so I'm going to go and clear this filter. So the big thing that I wanted to show you was about doing a pivot and a don't aggregate, because what I wanted to show you over here is if I did a pivot table over here, insert pivot table, it starts doing math on me. Close this query, say pizzas, ingredients. What's that? You know, I could take pizzas out and put ingredients in here, and now I can see 10 pizzas had mushrooms. All right, so let's do one other thing. I want to say pizza 30. Okay, what are some ingredients we want on pizza 30?
Peppers.
What kind of just peppers?
The hottest thing you got, Sriracha man. Bring it.
All right, so Carolina Reaper peppers.
Yo, nice.
Thank you.
Okay, and that's an ingredient that we don't already have. Okay, what else on pizza 30?
Well, obviously cheese is important.
Extra cheese?
Hell yeah, what's life without cheese?
Okay.
Nothing.
And
Pineapple.
pineapple. Okay, Kasper, what do you want? What do you want on pizza 30?
Pepperoni.
Pepperoni. Okay, cool.
Goes great with pineapple.
Now
It does.
I'm gonna refresh everything. Let me see. I'm gonna go over here. Refresh. Oh, we got another column on here.
What?
Oh, there's our Carolina Reapers. There's our pizza. There is pizza 30, all peeled down and put in the matrix.
Nice.
That's nice. Very nice.
Yeah. All right, and we didn't have to go back into the queries, just refresh. All right, so I am going to unshare my screen.
They don't teach you that in college.
No, they don't.
Oh,
They really
I'm
don't.
gonna see what. That's got to get 5 srirachas.
I mean, you're talking about pizza, man.
Clearly.
All right.
Pressure's
Cool.
on.
All right.
Okay.
Next up for you, Sylvia.
Thank you, I'm going to show you guys a groovy little macro, and I will explain useful applications for it, other than if you're not sure who your host needs to be on the show, wait, don't Excel me. There's a toggle effect going on here, because we've got, you may think it's magic, but there's actually 2 heads. See, there's Jonathan.
Multiple heads.
I know, there's many heads, yeah, so we just sort of rotate, you know. But so what's going on behind the scenes here? First of all, I have a picture, multi-layered picture, and I had this little spreadsheet thing that I totally did without your permission, Kasper. And what I did is I put it over Jordan's book, so you can't see it's really Jordan's book. And I'm giving away all my dirty secrets right now. And I assigned a macro to it. Okay, and that macro is called toggle the face. So I'm going to click edit to take me straight to my VBA editor and talk about toggle macros. And toggle macros, when you use this with something like shapes, now you're looking at this thing and you're going, well, when am I going to really create a spreadsheet with 2 heads on it and toggle the head? It's not about that. You could use this for any shape you create. One example that comes to mind is instructions. You know, sometimes we like to put little instruction notes on our dashboards or whatever. We're creating models for other people to use. You can have a macro button that says toggle instructions, and then your instructions can be shown or not shown, depending on the state of the macro. Anyway, so all you need to really know about this macro is this picture 3. Whenever you paste a picture into Excel or create a new shape, Excel automatically gives it a name. And in this case, that's picture 5, so in this case, picture 3, see when I click on your head there, it says picture 3, was the name that's assigned by default. So like I said, when you create a new shape, for example, I'm just going to do that real quick. Create a new shape. Instructions here. Right arrow 1. That's automatically assigned. So that's the only thing I need to know. The rest is just something you need to kind of remember with VBA. So toggle the face is the macro, and all you need to know about toggle the face is, like I said, the name of the picture, shape, whatever. Excel always assigns a default name. You can see it up in the name box. In this case, picture 3 was the name that came in by default when I sounds terrible, when I cut off Kasper's head and pasted it onto the, the little host body there. So active sheet dot shapes dot range, open parentheses array, open parentheses name of shape in quotes, dot visible equals, and this is just a line break. To do a line break in VBA, space underscore, that means it doesn't go all the way, you know, it's not like a 500-foot wide line of code. You can add your own line breaks. And then in the next part of the code, it just says not, and then in parentheses, the exact same thing. So you can literally just take this part, copy it, and then paste it into the parentheses there. So that means every time I activate toggle the face, this toggle macro says, is it visible? Then make it not visible. Is it not visible? Then make it visible. So it is what we call a toggle effect. So with that, you can see I've assigned that macro to, please hold. I've assigned that macro to this little guy right here. I can see it's there because when I hover over it, it gives me that little hand icon, whereas elsewhere on the picture I just get the 4-headed arrow, but here I've got the macro assigned, so therefore not visible, visible, not visible, visible. So that is how we use toggle macros, and like I said, if perhaps a more practical application, if you inserted a shape, let's say this was a dashboard and you said instructions for this little part right here, same macro, the name of my shape is right arrow 2, and then you could have a little button where people can say show or hide the instructions. I think it's a nice little easy macro, 2 lines, everybody can do it. I don't even know what else to say. It's good stuff.
Nice. Yeah. Cool.
All right. Cool. So let's see. So I want to give this, say, 4 srirachas. All right. More than 3. It's more than 2. It's a 4 sriracha because it can be very helpful, and it can help make some dashboards nice. Yes. Make them pretty.
True.
All right.
All right.
All right.
So, next up, what's up? What's happened in your part of the Excel neighborhood? First off, man, there was this training that happened, and it showed up in my inbox. And I was like, okay, there's some training here. Let's see, John Michaludis got something going on. He was on the show, and I was like, who's this dude?
What?
I know him.
Yep.
Then I kept getting emails. And they sent me to things like this. Where you can sign up for the John Michaludis and Oz Du Soleil Excel MVP Ultimate Excel Power Query and Data Cleansing online course.
Yes.
What is up with this course? Can you tell me about it?
Man, I'm gonna tell you what, man. This I was very passionate about this. John and I worked on this for about 3 months. It's got over 100 videos and about 7 hours worth of content. We also offered a bonus of my book, Guerrilla Data Analysis version 2, and Bill and Sylvia's book, Excel 40, as bonuses for joining the course. But what's in the course? Why am I passionate about it? Cleaning data. These are my roots. There is no analysis. There are no dashboards. You can't figure out what kind of pizzas and ingredients to buy unless you can peel that stuff down somehow. And it hurt me. I would come home and cry. I'd get down on my hands and knees and weep when I'd see to see people who spend a whole day or a whole week moving stuff around manually. So this course, it draws on a lot of real-world experiences where I've seen people have needed to either clean or reshape data. And there's a module on that as well. What is cleaning versus reshaping? Cleaning is when you have duplicates, when you have formatting that's messed up. Reshaping, that's basically when you have a report that's built for humans to look at, but it does not help Excel at all because it's got subtotals and headers and dates and weird stuff going on. So we show how to turn a lot of those kind of things into flat files so that you can work. And John's focus is on helping you with your job, getting you pay raises, making you invaluable, giving your time back. And then my angle is end misery. I don't want people spending a week moving stuff around. I don't like the misery that happens because of crap data. Customers that get hurt because data's messed up. So that's why I was driven to work on this course with John, and I'm excited about it. Right now, registration is closed. It closed last Friday, and in about 2 months, we'll open registration again. Because what happens in the course is we are there. People send us stuff to look at, to clean up, to give them guidance. So we are taking the next 2 months to take care of those students, and we're going to do live webinars with them and stuff, and then open the registration up again in another 2 months and take care of those people as well.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Oz. We do have a few more things that were going on, and massive congratulations to you on that. I know that's been a passion of yours for a long time. You've written manuscripts on it, and you've spent a lot of time and a lot of passionate hours into that. So congratulations on this one.
Thanks. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of other things happening in the news as well. Chandu also has a course for people who aren't necessarily looking to cleanse data, but are really kind of trying to understand a bit more just what happens with the different formulas. So he has a course out as well. I believe this has come out in the last month or so. So go and take a look at this. Anything from basic formulas all the way to auditing errors, et cetera, and more. Now, probably about a month or so ago, we did a survey, and it seems like on the heels of that, Microsoft took notice and said, "Hey, maybe we should do one of those surveys too." So, Microsoft always following the Excel TV channel. Big fan. Bill Gates, big fan of Excel TV.
Yep.
Yeah, it's documented. So they have a survey for the Microsoft Excel users. So go and check this out as well, and trying to learn a little bit more about, what sort of passions do the Excel users have, and as they're building things into the product, they have a better idea of what needs to be there. Also, bring your attention to our friend Ken Poles of excelguru.ca. He's up there in Canada and sent this over to us as well. There's the Vancouver Power BI users group, which I believe he's heavily involved in. And so if you're up there in the Canada area, you want to go over and check that out. That's at app.powerbi.com. We'll put all that into the show notes. Additionally, Spreadsheet O, our guest, Kasper, and his buddy Mikkel, have Spreadsheet O. And I see you have a lesson 1, some free Excel training. Kasper, would you mind talking about this a little bit?
Yeah, thank you very much. We launched this free Excel course some time ago, not so long ago, some weeks ago. And as you can see there on the front page, on the first page, spreadsheeto.com, you can see the lesson 1, and it's free, and the rest of the course is free as well. Just click here to get your free training, sign in with your email, and get the rest of the training on your email. It's totally free. What we try to emphasize in this course is the fastest way possible to become adept with Excel. It's not how you become a super user or a dashboard guru or something like that, But if you don't know much about Excel and you need to start a job, as one of my friends did, and he didn't know much about Excel, but he needed to know some in order to have this position that he just got. So he had to learn the fastest way possible. So I came up with 7 topics that he needed to know, and in order to become quite adept at Excel. So that's what we released for everyone. So if you're not a noob yourself, then maybe you know someone who should take this course. It's totally free, of course, and it's the best and fastest way to become pretty good at Excel, actually.
That's over at Spreadsheeto.
Yeah, that's Spreadsheeto.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Next up, we have, I can't remember if we brought this up last time or not, but over there on Mashable, one of our guys, man, I'd love to get this guy on the show. I think him and Sylvia would have a song off. Probably a song off is basically a Justin Bieber cover all around you should go and learn Excel. So he basically is a professor at, I believe, University of Texas, and he like at the end of every year he goes out and he does a little song. So go check this out. It's a lot of fun. If you're an Excel geek, you kind of get into this stuff. I love it. Also, in the world of BI and analytics, while you were sleeping, ClickView sold itself. So you're out there in the Tableau world, the ClickView world, and kind of the desktop business intelligence tools, they've agreed to be acquired by Thoma Bravo. So go check that out as well, particularly if you're one of those people who kind of have one foot in the Power BI, one foot in Excel, and your third toe is over there in ClickView or Tableau and one of those other tools. Certainly knowing what's going on in the BI world would be important to you. Next up, Campus Now website just released 75 practical resources that'll make you an Excel wizard. So go over here to Campus Now. It's the latest blog post they have out there. And there's a lot of people that we've had on the show. Chandu's been on the show. We certainly like Deborah Dalglesh. Excel Campus is John Akinpour. We've had him on the show. So a lot of people who have been on the show. And I did notice, gosh, where was Spreadsheeto here somewhere too? I
saw it. You scrolled past
you passed it.
There it is, Spreadsheeto. So one of the bigger ones there. Go Spreadsheeto. Go check them out. If you scroll down here to the also rans.
Trump Excel. Trump Excel might have a branding problem this year. I'm just
throwing that out there.
Throwing it out there. Is there a never Trump Excel?
Yeah, he's got good numbers. Trump Excel, that is. So down here in the miscellaneous, we're miscellaneous now. That's good. So we're moving on up. So what does Rick do again? People ask my mom. Well, just miscellaneous. So over here, Excel.tv. Wow, if you haven't heard of us, go check us out. That's us there. And I did mention in our last episode that we were putting out our own survey. And gosh, we did that. This is one of our blog posts recently where we had a survey. This survey now would take you over to SurveyMonkey, which would be a little something like this, which would walk you through a survey. Let's come back to me on that. I'll just chat through this real quick. Here's some of the things that we've learned from the survey. So some of the things we've learned that and I'll write a blog post on this in the coming probably 2 weeks or so. Just, hey, what did we learn about people who come to our site and what you shared? And we learned that it's outside of the demographics, mostly male, people who are probably about my age, middle career-ish, probably in a BI finance type role. So that's one thing. That's kind of like the demographic. What do they look like, et cetera, where do they live? But the other part that is really much more interesting is the sorts of things that people are interested in when they come to an Excel TV site versus what I think might be other sites. And what we're hearing from the people who come to Excel TV is, hey, you're not really as interested in the how to create a formula or how to do some of the basic stuff because you probably didn't come to us through a Google search for something like that. This is not the sort of content we usually have on our site. What we're finding is it's people who are living in data pretty much all day, every day. They already know the basics. They're doing their job day in and day out. They just want to know how to do it better. And three big themes really came up outside of business intelligence, of course. And then the big three things for us that we heard were you really want to be able to know how to cleanse your data a lot better, and certainly Oz is passionate about that. But you've got this junk data. Now, how can you make this easier? The second thing we heard was really the need to automate. Now that you've got this junk data, you've cleaned it up, how can you make your life a little bit easier? How can you hit a button and it just kind of be done for you? How can you use Power Query to kind of automate this stuff? How can you come in and make your life a little bit easier? And the third thing we heard was, and you can kind of compile this into kind of dashboards and everything, was really how can I better visualize this stuff? So now that I have the data, what are best practices around kind of a dashboard, or the best ways to do charting, et cetera, et cetera. So we heard a lot of that. And so here at the Excel TV laboratories here in Northeast Florida, we're putting the Excel TV elves to work on creating products that we think will fill that need. And so please stay tuned for that. I know Sylvia is busy. Oz is working on a lot of stuff, and so is Jordan. And I'm just putting together surveys, so that's what I do.
All right.
So anyways, more to come on that. More to come on that. So we do have one more thing to share with you. Our YouTube channel. So our YouTube channel, first off, we're at almost 400 videos right now, or right around 400 videos. We're just going to put us over 500 videos likely by the end of the year, just with how fast we're going. What I want to bring your attention to, and what's new with the channel now, is, as you know, we started off Excel in the Wild, Oz did, as part of the Excel TV network a little bit earlier in the year. And in that vein, a lot of the SSS Veda videos that Oz did, about 2 months or so ago, are now available on the Excel TV YouTube channel. Yep. So this is where Oz was pretty much creating a video every day for a month or so. So those are now available on the YouTube channel, and we'll be putting a blog post for each one of those on Excel TV. So if you didn't have enough time to go through every single one of these around ways to get good with Excel or lessons that he learned from his improv class, there'll be a blog post associated with that on the website here shortly. Oz, would you mind, for people who might not be familiar with SSS Beta, would you mind just briefly chatting about that, what that is?
Well, it was a challenge set out by, Amy Schmidauer had a vlog every day in April challenge, and it's for people who want to get better with YouTube. So it was a network of people who came together and supported each other around what microphones to use, or what editing software do you use, how do you minimize your editing process. So through putting up a video every day, there was some pretty cool things that came out of it. One, I started to develop my own visual language and started to develop my own process in recording, the editing process, the kind of font that I want to use. So that's what happened in April, and I didn't make all 30 days. I believe I made 24 of the 30.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Oz. All that's now available on the Excel TV YouTube channel. Appreciate you making that available through your Excel in the Wild show. Thank you, Oz. And we'll have some blog posts up on that shortly. So next up, where can you find us? Gosh, we're all over the place. But in addition to that, and you know that we're on YouTube, as I just showed you that. But would you mind, Kasper, letting us know where you're at? Where can people find you?
If people need to learn some stuff about Excel, we got content created every week that we launch on our website, spreadsheeto.com. There you can find our contact information. You can just send me an email if you got some questions for Excel or anything about this interview, and I'll be happy to to answer anything.
Great. Well, thank you for that, Kasper. And for myself and Sylvia and Oz, it's been a real pleasure having you on the show. And
it's been a pleasure being here.
You and Mikkel are doing over there. Is it Mikkel or Mikkel? How do you say that?
Mikkel. You're right, Oz. It's perfect.
Yes. Yeah.
Which means mode, by the way. So thank you so much for being on the show. We appreciate that. Gosh, we'll be back in another few weeks or so with our follow-up episode, number 46. Gosh, we're rounding up. We're getting close to 50 right now. It's number 45. You can round this up to 50. We're getting, we're getting old. a little long in the tooth here. So thank you so much for being part of the show.
Thank you.
This is Rick Grantham, along with Sylvia Juhasz and Oz Du Soleil, reminding you to keep on excelling. We'll see you next time.